I wanted to do the film from this book as a producer. That version fell apart. We tried different other versions. We tried a version with Ivory. That version fell apart. And after 9 years almost, we found ourselves in the need of making the movie because there was a sort of collective passion for it. I finally started to think about this movie as my movie. And what ignited my passion to do it was in the possibility of working with these actors.
Did you really watch Call Me By Your Name closely? Even the most devoted fans miss these subtle clues, hidden metaphors, and genius filmmaking choices. Let's uncover the 20 things you totally missed. Number 1. Elio's shirt color evolution.
Just watch, this is how we'll say goodbye to us when the time comes. Later.
Meanwhile, we'll have to put up with him for 6 long weeks.
Elio's shirt colors shift across the film, beginning with light tones like pastels and bright florals. These early outfits reflect his innocence and emotional openness. As the story progresses and his relationship with Oliver intensifies, his wardrobe darkens subtly, moving into blues, earthy tones, and finally grays. This transition reflects a deepening emotional complexity and maturity. Notably, after Oliver leaves, Elio is seen wearing duller, more subdued tones. Costume design here serves as a visual timeline of Elio's emotional journey, charting his evolution from adolescence to heartbreak. The change is gradual, but intentional, underscoring the film's visual storytelling. Number 2. The peach scene isn't just about shock.
This is lush with fruit. There are scents all over the place, and the boy takes the fruit in his bedroom and begins to eat it. And as in the movie, there's juices all over him, and basically he applies the fruit in a place of his body that we will not name, and he ejaculates into it.
In one of the film's most talked about scenes, Elio masturbates using a peach. Beyond the shock value, this moment carries emotional significance. The peach, soft and ripe, symbolizes Elio's blooming sexuality. When Oliver later discovers the peach and, instead of reacting with disgust, chooses to comfort Elio, it marks a turning point. It's the first moment Oliver directly confronts Elio's vulnerability with tenderness, not desire. The peach becomes a metaphor for emotional exposure, Elio offering a raw, unguarded part of himself. It deepens their bond and serves as one of the film's most emotionally layered, misunderstood moments. Number 3. The overheard phone call. When Elio hears Oliver speaking on the phone in English early in the film, it's more than a casual moment. At this point, Oliver has not yet opened up emotionally or physically to Elio. The phone call symbolizes his guardedness and detachment. While the rest of the household primarily communicates in French or Italian, Oliver switches to English, a language of emotional distance. It also hints at the dual life Oliver leads. One foot in the summer romance, another firmly rooted in his own world. This overheard call signals Oliver's emotional boundaries before any relationship begins. Number 4. Elio's foot touch in the dinner scene. At the dinner table with friends and family, Elio discreetly stretches his foot to touch Oliver's. The moment is easy to miss, but it's their first act of physical contact laden with meaning. It happens in a public setting, making it risky. Oliver immediately tenses and pulls away, signaling caution. This foot touch represents Elio's growing boldness and desire to test the limits of their connection. It's a pivotal emotional cue, the beginning of physical expression, happening under the table, literally and metaphorically. The scene builds tension without words, relying purely on body language and reaction. Number 5. The psychedelic art poster. In Elio's bedroom hangs a poster of psychedelic art featuring a distorted human face. This piece isn't random set design. It visually mirrors Elio's inner confusion and emotional fragmentation. The distorted imagery represents the duality of his feelings, affection and fear, desire and hesitation. This backdrop becomes particularly symbolic during scenes where Elio grapples with his attraction to Oliver. It subtly reflects the emotional and psychological shifts taking place within him. The poster remains in frame during several introspective moments, adding silent commentary to Elio's psychological state throughout his summer transformation. Number 6. The use of bicycles. Bicycles are more than transportation in this film. They reflect freedom, emotional pacing, and solitude. In early scenes, Elio and Oliver bike side by side, matching pace and signaling growing harmony. But at key emotional moments, such as after tense conversations or personal revelations, one character often bikes ahead or lags behind. This visual separation marks emotional distance. When Elio watches Oliver bike away after they've had an intimate moment, it underscores the unspoken fear of abandonment. The use of bicycles quietly maps the dynamics of their evolving relationship, when they're aligned and when they're emotionally out of sync. Number 7. The cigarette moment. Oliver lights a cigarette during a casual gathering, and a few moments later, Elio imitates him by lighting one too. The sequence is brief but significant. It reflects Elio's desire to mirror Oliver, to appear older, more confident, and to shrink the emotional gap between them. This moment also subtly introduces themes of influence and identity. Elio isn't just mimicking an action. He's trying to embody the confidence and worldliness Oliver seems to possess effortlessly. The cigarette becomes a symbol of Elio's attempt to grow up quickly, to match Oliver's emotional maturity, and to earn his attention. Number 8. The egg scene. In one scene, Elio is cracking soft-boiled eggs at breakfast, while his father discusses Greco-Roman statues and philosophies. The visual metaphor is understated but deliberate. Elio is cracking emotionally, exploring his identity, while the discussion of history and art represents the rigid expectations of the intellectual world around him. This moment captures the generational divide, where Elio is breaking open into something new, vulnerable, and emotional, while his father reflects on classical permanence. The contrast between food preparation and philosophical dialogue becomes a symbolic layering of the personal and the cultural influences Elio must navigate. Number 9. The train platform silence. When Oliver boards the train and Elio sees him off, neither says much. The silence is jarring and deliberate. It captures the raw reality of parting without closure. The lack of dialogue mirrors the way many summer loves end, not with a dramatic farewell, but with quiet sadness. Their silence speaks volumes. Elio doesn't cry in that moment, nor does Oliver offer reassurance. The framing, the subtle facial expressions, and the background noise of the station make it one of the most emotionally dense moments of the film, achieved without a single scripted line between them. Number 10. The books Elio reads. Elio is frequently seen reading French literature, particularly books by authors like Marguerite Duras and Heraclitus. These selections aren't accidental. Many of these texts explore themes of forbidden love, fleeting desire, and the ephemeral nature of passion, all of which mirror Elio's experience with Oliver. In one scene, he reads a passage that directly echoes his own feelings of confusion and longing. The books serve as both foreshadowing and emotional anchors, tying Elio's inner world to a broader literary tradition of melancholic romance. They quietly reinforce the film's intellectual and emotional themes. Click the join button below to become part of our growing film-loving community. You'll get exclusive early video releases, connect with fellow film enthusiasts, and discover more hidden gems in LGBTQ+ cinema. Your support truly matters and helps us make more content like this. 11th. Later isn't random. Oliver's catchphrase, "later," is used repeatedly in the film, often in place of a meaningful goodbye. Early on, it feels casual, something a confident American might say without thinking. But as the film progresses, the word becomes emotionally charged. It's Oliver's way of keeping Elio at a distance, avoiding emotional vulnerability. When he says it at the end of the trip, knowing they may never see each other again, later hits with heartbreaking weight. What started as a throwaway phrase becomes a symbol of unspoken feelings, deflection, and ultimately, the emotional restraint that defines Oliver's character. 12. The stolen glances through mirrors. Mirrors appear frequently in Call Me By Your Name, but what often goes unnoticed is how many scenes use them to capture glances when characters aren't directly looking at each other. One early scene shows Elio watching Oliver through a mirror, allowing him to observe without risk. These visual moments are crucial, revealing desires the characters can't verbalize. The mirror also serves as a metaphor for internal reflection and hidden emotion. By framing characters through mirrors, the director emphasizes secrecy, longing, and the ways the two young men try to understand each other without confrontation. Number 13. Oliver's necklace and its significance. Oliver wears a Star of David necklace throughout the film, a subtle but consistent detail. At first, Elio notices it and is intrigued. Later, Elio begins wearing his own version of the necklace, symbolizing his desire to feel closer to Oliver. Not just emotionally or physically, but culturally. This shared Jewish identity becomes a quiet bond between them, something unspoken yet deeply understood. The moment when Elio starts wearing the necklace himself marks a turning point. It signifies intimacy, identification, and acceptance. It's not just a fashion choice. It's a declaration of shared experience and closeness. Number 15. Elio's name isn't spoken by Oliver until later. It's easy to overlook, but Oliver rarely says Elio's name directly in the early parts of the film. This verbal restraint reflects emotional distance. Only after they become physically and emotionally involved does Oliver begin using Elio's name more frequently. This culminates in the pivotal, "Call me by your name and I'll call you by mine" exchange. The delay in name usage highlights the progression from stranger to lover. Names carry weight, and Oliver withholding Elio's name until later mirrors how long it takes him to fully acknowledge the depth of their connection. Number 16. The title's deeper symbolism.
A beautiful and heartbreaking relationship comes of it.
This relationship is a huge, impactful thing.
The phrase, "call me by your name," isn't just romantic or poetic. It encapsulates the essence of their bond. When Elio and Oliver use each other's names in intimate moments, it symbolizes complete identification. They're not just lovers, they're reflections of each other. The line blurs identity, suggesting that in love, the self dissolves into the other. It's about the desire to inhabit one another emotionally and psychologically. This concept deepens the tragedy of their separation. Having experienced such closeness, going back to individuality feels like a loss. The title reveals itself as the heart of the film. Number 17. Classical music and its emotional purpose. The film's use of classical music is highly intentional. Pieces by composers like Satie and Ravel aren't just background. They echo the emotional states of the characters. In particular, Elio's piano playing becomes a language of its own. He mimics different composers' styles when interpreting the same piece, reflecting his attempt to process feelings in various ways. Music often replaces dialogue, expressing longing, joy, or sorrow when words fail. The selection of timeless, melancholic pieces reinforces the film's atmosphere of romantic nostalgia. Every musical cue aligns with Elio's inner emotional arc, adding layers to each silent moment. Number 18. Untranslated dialogue as emotional distance. Several scenes include Italian or French dialogue that isn't subtitled. While this may seem like a stylistic choice, it serves a deeper purpose. By not translating certain lines, the film creates a sense of exclusion for the audience, mimicking Oliver's own outsider experience in Italy. These untranslated exchanges often happen during family meals or with locals, subtly emphasizing Oliver's separation from the culture. At the same time, Elio switches between languages fluidly, highlighting his comfort and intellectual command of his world. The lack of translation becomes a narrative tool to reinforce emotional and cultural boundaries. Number 19. Mr. Perlman's hidden backstory. Elio's father delivers one of the film's most emotional monologues near the end, encouraging Elio not to shut out pain or numb his feelings. What's easy to miss is the implied revelation in that speech. Mr. Perlman hints that he too experienced a love like Elio's, one that he couldn't fully pursue or express. He never states it outright, but his regret is palpable. This subtle confession adds another layer to the story. It's not just about Elio and Oliver, but about generational silence and lost opportunities. Mr. Perlman becomes a mirror of what Elio might become if he chooses repression over remembrance. Number 20. The fireplace ending is not just sadness. In the final scene, Elio stares into the fireplace as the credits roll. It's not simply a moment of grief. It's a visual summary of the entire emotional journey. The flickering fire reflects lingering passion, pain, and warmth. Elio doesn't speak, but his face tells everything: love, sorrow, acceptance, and reflection. The camera holds the shot for minutes, forcing viewers to sit with his emotion. It's not a breakdown, it's quiet resilience. The absence of music and dialogue makes it more intimate. This scene closes the story not with closure, but with a lingering burn, just like First Love. Which of these details surprised you the most? Leave a comment and don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into LGBTQ+ cinema. See you in the next one.